Hi everyone, it's Miss Maria. Let's learn to put the warp string on our cardboard loom. We're going to start on the back side with a plain yarn or string. I'm going to tape the end of this to the back. And I'm leaving the yarn on my ball until I'm finished. Take that up through the first little slit or notch at the top. Slide it through. It's sort of like flossing your teeth in a way. Flip to the front. Bring that string straight down to the matching notch or slot at the bottom and pull it through. You want this to be kind of snug, but not too tight. You don't want to bend the cardboard. You just want it to be snug. Flip to the back, go up to the second notch, go through, bring it straight down the front to the one that matches at the bottom, and keep going from the top to the bottom. Keep rolling out your yarn as you go. Keep it snug but not too tight. Take as much time as you need with this. Make sure that your little teeth don't bend down too much because your weaving might come loose in the middle of your project, and you don't want that to happen. So keep going from the top slot to the bottom, around the back, and to the next slot. All right. Let me lay this flat so that I make sure I'm not making it too tight or too loose. And now we're at the last one, from the top to the bottom and to the back. It's good for you to have an even number of warp strings for this type of weaving. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. You could do 8 to start with if you're more comfortable with that. Now flip to the back. We're going to tape that piece, that leftover piece down. And then we'll just cut off the extra. So there's what your loom will look like when it's warped, and the next step will be to start the weaving. Thank you. Okay, everyone, let's try weaving. We've got our the warp on our loom, and we're ready to start. We've got about 2 to 3 feet of yarn. Any longer, and it will get tangled up. I'm using a simple yarn needle, and I've got a little fork, which I'll show you what to do with that in just a minute. So we're going to start with our over, under, all the way across. Just lift up the ones that you want to go under, pull it across. Now you notice I'm starting down here a little bit. I'm going to leave about 3 to 4 inches here, and then I'm going to use my fork to slide it up to the top. The reason we start it down a little bit will keep it from getting too tight and pulling in from the sides. So now let's go back the other way. So over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. and slide it up. And then pull it so it is snug and straight on the sides, but not too tight. The two things to remember to keep maintaining your over-under pattern and to try not to pull it up too far from each side. And we want to cover up most of our warp strings, but if you push this too tightly, your yarn starts to look kind of flat and squished. You may not want to do that, so just keep it sort of snug but not too tight. Let's do one more row. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Check to make sure that it's the opposite of your last row. And then slide it up. Okay, let's finish up our weaving. You can see that I finished my rows. I'm on my last row now. I'm still following my over-under pattern. Keep going across, over-under. I'm going to slide that up with my fork. And then I'm going to cut it off so I have about 4 inches left. Now when you're doing this, you can change colors every time you run out of your 2 to 3 foot length. You can use a different color. I chose a yarn that changes as it goes along, so I didn't have to worry about that. So now we've done all the weaving that we're going to do that will fit onto our loom. I'm going to flip to the back. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut across the middle of the warp on the back. I've taped down, so I'm going to cut right beside the tape. And let's flip back and let's pull those strings out of the cardboard loom. So do that on both sides. Okay, so now I'm going to flip back to the back, and I have an even number of strings on each end, so I'm going to tie them together in twos. Those two, those two, those two, those two, and so forth. So you're going to make a double knot. So take the right hand piece over the left hand piece, pull that pretty tightly, and then do the same left over right. And go all the way across so that each set of 2 strings is tied in a double knot. Keep going across. Pull them pretty snugly so they hold that last row of weaving in tightly. And keep going. Alright, last pair on this end. Alright, you'll do the same thing at the other end, but I want to show you how to handle these loose threads on each side. So we're going to just thread that onto your yarn needle. If you don't have a yarn needle, wrap a little piece of scotch tape around the end. And then we're going to just take that loose piece up through the edge of your weaving. And pull it through. And then you're going to carefully, so that you don't cut your weaving, you're going to carefully cut the end of that. So we'll do that for each piece on the side and tie your two sets of strings together at the bottom, each pair. And your weaving will be finished. That's a bookmark. Once you know how to do this, you can make larger ones for placemats or coasters. You can make longer ones. That might be a belt, or you could make a bracelet. Really, the possibilities are endless once you get the basic technique down. So I hope you'll give this project a try. Thank you for joining us.